Are you someone who loves pen and paper RPGs and you just can't get enough of it? And in return, you hope for a game to come along that is based upon that pen and paper game, hoping to be great, just to realize it got turned into a free-to-play Battle Royale? No? I didn't think so. But nonetheless, today I am here to talk with you about Vampire The Masquerade Blood Hunt, which just went into early access over on Steam and had the opportunity to check it out and play for all you wonderful people. If you want to see an actual uncut gameplay of it, link above my head. But for the video itself, we are going to be going over everything you need to know about this game and to see is it actually worth your time or not. Any if you're a Vampire fan or if you just like Battle Royales. So before we hop into this, if you are new here and you find this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, make sure you do the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, and of course, check out a membership or Patreon so you can be like all the wonderful folks that you can see on screen right now. Link in the description, and will be talked about at the end of the video if you are interested in learning more. And with that, let's go ahead, let's get into this. Let's talk about Vampire The Masquerade Blood Hunt. So, as I stated, Blood Hunt is set inside the universe of Vampire, or I should say, the War of Darkness, tabletop RPGs. But this don't really have much in common. Don't get me wrong, you do of course have some of the races here, such as the Note of War 2 and whatnot, but you only have a grand total of 3 different types of clan or different types of vampire to be used inside of this elite at launch anyway. And the game itself is pretty much made up in a very simple way of you creating your character here by creating more so you having 2 types for each race in the game. Some will give you the power to heal, others will do quote range combat will do better, and then others will quote allow you to teleport around or turn invisible and whatnot to help you get the upper hand in the fights. And the customization is, as of now, not the most in-depth thing ever. You will unlock outfits and accessories for your character that you can either spend real money on, which we will get to momentarily, or you can unlock it by just playing the game and unlocking in a mission pass system that is available, and it can get you a whole bunch of free stuff, but let's be honest, the majority of it is tied to, of course, spending real money upon. And the microtransaction side of this is not a lot in it at the time of the video anyway, but with that being said, it is a little more on the offensive side, since at all like how much currency you can get, you're looking at you're gonna be spending a $10 US for every bare minimum amount of the coins you will get for the game itself. With the microtransaction stuff out of the way, like I said, not a lot there yet, but I imagine that's gonna change here in the future more than likely. But the gameplay itself is made up of a very interesting twist on the Battle Royale mechanics here. Since you are using ability from the tabletop game, it does add a little bit more to the formula here. With that being said, the game itself only can get like roughly around, I believe, 43-ish player, or at least at the highest I ended up seeing in my playthrough of this. And itself is pretty much spread out between a open area that is actually fairly big for the most part, especially appealed to the player-based side here. And of course, the game itself, since you do have the abilities to, like I said, teleport around or turn invisible and whatnot, and also the ability to move around extremely quickly, this game is very much focused upon moving, and of course, the environment itself, with it having it combat on the ground, right along with the ability to climb up buildings and tunnels scattered throughout the city here, to add a lot to this environment. And outside of environments, there is, of course, how you're actually going to fight. Some of your abilities will actually do damage, other with more support, so a lot of your actual damage output is going to be brought down to, of course, weapons. The weapons itself is not really anything super to write home about, since when you start the game, everybody start with a single handgun, which is not the most powerful, but then again, none of the weapons really are in the range aspect anyway. But as you going through either by killing other players or by finding a gather around, you can get your hands on machine gun, bows, also melee weapons, which is honestly some of the best weapons in the game as of now, because the balances are really off for guns. But you do have melee stuff such as axes, katanas, a baseball bat, and whatnot. And then you also have your normal like static items that are used for such as like healing items or doing like boosts over time, as well as armor to be added to your character to give you any more health. But the interesting part about all that, not only is using your ability to, help with your endeavors of trying to survive in the Battle Royale, there is also another mechanic that is pretty interesting here, where your character can actually level up inside of the battlefield by taking part in harvesting the PvE side of this. Since as you are going through, you will have civilians scattered about. Some of them you will just drain to get blood back and get your health back, and then other will actually give you bonuses to 4 single stats, and each stat can level up to level 3. The only catch here is you can only have 4 point total, so you have to go out of your way to find the characters or NPC to drain their blood to get certain stats on your character to fit the type of gameplay you want to play. And in return, outside of just straight conflict with other players, it does add a little extra to your character and a little more motivation to not just run in gun blazing, but try to level up your character a little bit here. That way you will become a better vampire once the area starts shrinking. Since like every other Battle Royale, we do have that fog that will come in that will hurt vampire, once again pointing everybody to a single direction and making the game come to an end in a very spectacular way that you have seen in every other Battle Royale under the sun. The other part of it though, outside of that, and for when you are running around and taking part in leveling from the NPCs or getting your health back by drinking blood of certain NPC, there will also be vampire hunters around. They are not really something to mess with, especially in large groups. But with that being said, they don't really do all that much. They kind of just hang out in one specific area of the map, and as long as you don't go near there or you don't hang around long enough, there's really not any real issue with them. They just kind of there and could become a nuisance every once in a while. And speaking of becoming a nuisance, is of course that this is Vampire the Masquerade. The Masquerade is very important, or kind of lack thereof, in this. Since the whole logic here is as you running around and using your vampire power to get around, drink blood, or just, attacking humans in front of other humans, you will in return break the Masquerade, and when that happens, you will of course get a marker on your character where other players can see where you are to hunt you down. The thing is about this, in concept it's really neat, but in practice it doesn't happen all that much, and also it is very easily enough to just get away and not really have to deal with it at all. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it becomes a problem, but the majority of the time it's just one more thing to just have to watch out for. But with that out of the way, you might be wondering, how good is this game? Is it actually a good Battle Royale? And the answer is not really. The game itself does have some issues, mainly of course with the load time between finding games. They could just be a server issue since this is day 1 of public launch. But with that being said, there is many menus that is a little iffy, because when you load in, you will load in a church with other players, and then once you start the match, you will then be put into another queue where you will then pick your character, and then from there it will load into the match itself. But that load time can be drastic all over the place depending on, well, the situation. Sometimes it's okay, but the majority of the time not really. So effectively waiting around for the game to fully get going. And there is not really anything you can do, because the only free activity as far as running around is before you any start the match itself. Don't get me wrong, there is some things you can do in the area that you start off in. Since there is NPC you can talk to, there are items you can discover to get lore and backstory, but nothing really that drastic and nothing really have any purpose as of now, so it's kind of pointless as a hub. And then we turn any of the hub being a way to plateau or distract yourself while finding a game. Sadly, it don't work that way, and once you begin the game, you are stuck in loading screen. And then when it comes to the game itself, the game is very underwhelming because it has some interesting mechanic tied to it and a possibility of fun every now and again. But the game itself, when it comes to straight combat, the hitboxes are not the most ideal. Of course, the players themselves of other players are not the most unique thing, so it's very hard to tell the distance between player, NPC, and where they are, since the game is very vertical. It is extremely easy to just get jumped and die and not really know why. And then on the other hand, if you are using guns, the gun itself is extremely weak, especially upheld to melee. Melee is overpowered, but at the same time, it's not overpowered in the way you expect. Well, you still will take 4 to 5 hits to take down a player that is jumping around, which in return comes a problem with the hitbox. Or you can go ahead and easily unload 3 to 4 quips into a player and may or may not kill them while they're jumping around and you constantly missing. So any melee is a lot faster, it still have the same issue of just trying to hit anything, feel very clunky and almost impossible in a lot of ways. So ideally, the best fun part is to sneak around and attack enemies as they are fighting other people and hope they are distracted long enough and not jumping around too much so you can actually hit them. So the gameplay itself boiled down to mainly just that. Like I said, there were moments that is extremely fun, but on the other hand, it's extremely clunky once you get down to just black tats about the combat, which in return is extremely disappointing because there is plenty of other Battle Royale that does it so much better. And then on top of that, with the environment being so vertical, it is so easily just able to just get lost. Nothing really about the area outside of 1 or 2 zones is very interesting at all, and everything just kind of start blending together and all start looking very samey, which is something that probably not ideal when you're elite trying to remember where certain weapons spawn or where certain hot spots are on the map. It literally just feels like you in the same 3 houses with repeat over and over again in 80 to 90% of the map total. So overall, Vampire The Masquerade Bloodhunt is a game that had the possibility of becoming something fun, but at the time of launch anyway, there was just so much stuff that in the way. Might it be the load time, might it be the hitboxes, the environment, the microtransaction being very expensive and not really having an easy way to collect the stuff for free-to-play player. And in return, any of that stuff don't really play into it because most of the stuff in the microtransaction is visual. It still feels very bland because most of the time it's just coats and jackets, stuff you might expect from Vampire, but at the same time, it doesn't exactly help your character at all, like standing out from the environment and seeming to, you know, be a lot easier to spot the distance between a player, an NPC, or just a signpost. So, just like fighting with that signpost, ideally, the game is probably better off for you to just stop playing, come back to it in the future. We will see what comes of it. Hopefully something good comes of it, because like the concept is not a bad idea for turning Vampire into a Battle Royale. It's just right now, the fun factor is extremely low. And will this game have the time, the budget, the money to actually become something great? Probably not, but if it does, maybe at a later date it's something to check out. But for the time being, Vampire The Masquerade Bloodhunt should honestly just stay dead. And hopefully, our next Vampire game that we get in the future will hopefully be better. But with that all being said, of course, I give Vampire The Masquerade Bloodhunt a 2 out of 5. And if you are interested in playing Vampire, you can do so right now totally for free over on Steam to Early Access. Link will be in the description if you're interested in checking it out for yourself and have your own opinion. Because why not? If you find it interesting at all, you might find a little bit of enjoyment. I found a little bit of enjoyment. But sadly, there are just way better games out there in the genre. And any more so if you are someone who likes playing with other people. Because sadly, this game literally only has solo queuing. So, no co-op for you. And I guess with that, if you have found it useful, make sure you do the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell. And of course, if you want to help out the channel grow, be sure to check out membership below or patreon.com/Macon and become like all the wonderful people you've seen on screen as of right now. And of course, get your own shout out by Luna for checking out some of the other tiers. Might it be Patreon membership or over on twitch.tv/TroyMacon. Links will be in the description. And with that, that will do it for me. And I will see you all in the comments.